is the reason Final Fantasy never broke out of the turn-based mold until 12, and even then 12 is still a turn-based game, and so is 13 actually, by the way. It's just a more visceral turn-based. It's a more active element of turn-based. It's ATB but on crack, you know. So anyway, Final Fantasy was too precious to take that kind of risk on it. Cure paralysis. Oh, that's an item apparently. The Mana series started as an FF spin-off before becoming its own thing, kind of, sort of. In fact, Saga was derived from FF2. FF2 is basically Saga Beta, and now we have the Saga franchise because of it. But yeah, that's why it was too precious. It was too important for them, you know. I love FF13 combat system too. It's insanely good. People are like, oh, it's active battle or whatever, or it's just auto battle, or a lot of other incorrect things. And it's such an involved and amazing combat system that really draws you in. But anyway, point is, that's why this game's combat system lacks. That's what I was getting at, basically, is we're going back to this game. This combat system lacks because it doesn't have the technological capability of being a more interesting, active combat system. And so it ends up being just mash A and maybe do a skill here and there, but really, just mash A. Final Fantasy Adventure, which is Legend of Mana, or sorry, the Legend of the Sword, Seiken Densetsu, aka Secret of Mana 1 and Secret of Mana 2, or rather Secret of Mana Seiken Densetsu 2, was called Final Fantasy Gaiden in Japan. Gaiden means side story or side content. So, interesting, very interesting. That I did not know. I always thought it was just Seiken Densetsu. Final Fantasy Legends 1, 2, and 3 was a marketing thing for the West because of, well, I mean, okay, so was Final Fantasy Adventure. So the thing is, in the West, the only RPG that had been proven to be popular was Final Fantasy. So in order to market their games better in the West, they named Seiken Densetsu Final Fantasy Adventure, and they named Saga 1, 2, and 3 Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3. Same goes with Mystic Quest. I know we're gonna have a conversation about that, but the point is the reason they were marketed in the West that way was to draw popularity off of the Final Fantasy franchise. But what VG is saying is that even Final Fantasy Adventure, or Seiken Densetsu, was called Final Fantasy Gaiden in Japan. Even though it was still Seiken Densetsu, it was released as Seiken Densetsu, and it's always been Seiken Densetsu. But even then, the original release was still called Final Fantasy Gaiden, which draws off what somebody else said, Fondmaster said, that Seiken Densetsu, or Secret of Mana, was originally a Final Fantasy spin-off, which proves that if it's called FF Gaiden, which means side story. So yeah, that is actually true then, if that's the case. Interesting, really, really interesting. Basically what Rowdy said, yep. Yep. They thought Westerners were too stupid for RPGs, and that is why we got Mystic Quest instead of Final Fantasy V, by the way. That is why we got Mystic Quest instead of Final Fantasy V. Not to mention the presence of Chocobos and Moogles in Seiken Densetsu games. Yeah, very true. Another very true statement. And now Mana's kind of been its own thing, and the Moogles and Chocobos are kind of just, what do you call them? You know, cute little nods. Oh, the dual helmet. Hey, I'm about it. You know, it makes me think. Nope. Really is only fear in area. Interesting how she can equip it, but he can't. What was Sword of Mana, the GBA remake of FF Adventure Seiken Densetsu? What was the Sword of Mana? What was Sword of Mana? What do you mean, what was Sword of Mana? Probably just called Seiken Densetsu, if you're talking about in Japan. Oh. This place is a frickin' maze and I hate it. I really, really hate it already. What was the remake called in Japan? Like I said, it's probably just called Seiken Densetsu remake, remaster, whatever. If I had to take a guess. I let the NPCs do that battle with the splitty thingies because each time they split, they're additional XP and they're worth a lot of XP, so yeah. Kind of want to go back to the arena and absolutely destroy it. I'm also pretty sure that I'll get 999 HP by about level 60, 70. Although I do have an accessory that gives me like 25% HP, so I should take that off eventually. Maybe put it on my healer. See what I can put on instead. These are so good, but so bad at the same time. Flaring would be okay. I'm just wondering if it's gonna be worth it to put that on, put the to take off the MP regeneration off Millie to keep her alive. You know, if I gave her more HP, because her defense is really bad. There's just no options for her. Hopefully the next treasures that I get are defensive stuff for Millie, because, or at the very least, I get some defensive stuff for Millie before this dungeon ends. Because I feel like it's throwing all this stuff at me because it's going to ramp up the difficulty big time. So I want to be prepared for it. You honestly understand now when I meant when you hate how games automatically choose a party for you playing through FF9. So let me elaborate on that, because there are good ways and bad ways of, quote, forcing a party on you. And the biggest complaint I have is if it's not necessary for the story to do it. For instance, when I was playing Breath of Fire 3, there was no story reason for me to have Pico or Momo in my party, but I would need them to hit a switch at the end of the dungeon, and if I didn't have them, then I just had to arbitrarily freaking go through the entire dungeon all over again with them. You know, it was really frustrating in that regard. However, just having to use them isn't as big of an issue for me. But I definitely don't like it how it's like you have a team that you like using, and the game is just gonna like constantly prevent you from being able to actually use those teammates. But however, there's also another part to this whole ordeal. Final Fantasy IX does it in such a way to where the game kind of balances it to be based around if you hadn't really invested in the unit a whole lot. Like, for instance, when it finally gives you access to Steiner again, everything's pretty low level because you haven't had a lot of time with Steiner. There's another couple instances of that, and it's fine that way. But FF9 does balance it correctly, but it's still aggravating when you can't use the party members that you want. But the biggest thing is, as long as it makes sense with the story, then it's fine. The Forest Shrines part, yeah, that's pretty rough, but you should be able to just solo it with Zidane, to be honest. But it can definitely be a struggle if you're not prepared for that, especially when you didn't invest in Quina, for sure. Yeah. I agree that part was probably one of the worst parts of it occurring. But still, yeah, it should be manageable. But yeah, I agree with you on the shrine part. The rest of the game does balance it pretty accurately, pretty well. But I do agree with the shrine part being a bit mean. This is, yeah. This can't possibly be all the way back to where I was before, is it? No, okay. But yeah, there's definitely good ways of doing that and bad ways of doing that. And my gripe was with Breath of Fire 3 specifically being really not telling you what character you need and then requiring it anyway, you know? But I definitely, like, when a game gives you lots of characters to use, you want to use the ones that you like. So it's like if you like Vivi and you can't use Vivi, it just makes you feel like shit. You're just like, but I want to use Vivi, I want to use my boy, you know? So I totally get it, I get it. Fix Cloud, I guess. That's when all the that's when all the celebrities get their nudes stolen from the cloud. We have to fix the cloud. We have to fix the cloud. I got a stun half, which could be really good for melee, but I don't know. Or FF7. We'll hang on to it for now. It could be very useful on melee. Guard obtained. And a guard obtained. Alright, let's ID this stuff. Sylvan Helm. And Sylvan Mail. Let's just see who can equip it. I feel like it's gonna be the angel dude only. Oh, it's Caius. All warrior stuff. Alright, let's check it out. Well, I'm just definitely gonna take the armor because, yeah. Wow. That looks like it makes him invulnerable to a lot of status ailments, which I'm about. Let's check the head out. Doesn't do anything special, so we'll give that to Caius just because he's got basically nothing. From my understanding, Neo, the end of that game was very kind of tacked on and rushed. And so, like, basically, Disc 3 feels like a band-aid to the extension of the game. And then you have the Disc 4, which kind of just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It just kind of feels like it's out of place. Supposedly, the game was supposed to end at the end of Disc 3, and they just kind of extended it. And so, again, it just kind of feels like a band-aid to extending the game a little bit. And I think that probably makes sense in that context. Also, getting Resurrection Mists is very good as an item drop. You can't buy those in its AoE res, so yeah. Heard I love salt? I mean, I do. I was definitely a little saltier to Battletoads the other day than I wanted to be. Kind of regret how I acted a little bit. I got a little out of hand with a couple things. But I think it was partly because I was so close to beating it and didn't quite do it, so just kind of aggravated me, but yeah. I was a little salty on Tuesday. Gomen no sorry. Knightly Hexerman skills? True. I should have just used those, you're right. Who was my crafter supposed to be? Fear. Oh, she's level 7, actually, not bad. Foraging and mineralogy, both very expensive right now, so that ain't happening. I need her to learn the defensive stuff. Stamina and something else. Con. Okay, she's maxed those out then, never mind. Oh, it's foraging, not foraging. Level 10, and the best you can buy is sweet syrup. See you later, Pidgeotto. Yeah, but I mean, listen, like, I kind of promote a lot of, like, chill vibes and good atmosphere and positivity and stuff, and to let myself get caught up in the frustration, like, I'm mad at myself, you know? I'm mad at myself for letting me get to that point. How'd the pigeon get in there? I took it with me. This place seems to be some sort of laboratory. I wonder if we can access their data bank. I can see Terrakuja. Oh, okay. This is the laboratory of time and space. What do you want? Ugh, yikes. Translation, please. The time and space laboratory? Why would there be such an advanced facility in a place like this? Something's fishy. I agree. This doesn't seem like the kind of place ordinary monsters would use to take over the world. Connect. Connect to what? Oh. Okay. Accepted. What is your name? Name? Try Asmodeus. Asmodeus. Accepted. Please enter your password. Looks like it worked. But now comes the really hard part. Negative. Please enter your password. No good. Timeout exceeded. Warning. What timeout? What if you like put it on the password screen and you gotta go to the bathroom? A time limit? Oh no, the security system has been activated. What? You. What business do you have here? Is that a cat girl? To take care of you guys and Asmodeus once and for all. You talk big for someone who doesn't even know what Asmodeus looks like. How would you know? I am Asmodeus. Oh no, we have been tricksored. Or did you assume that you would find him in the most remote part of the building? You, take care of these guys. Oh, he gets healed from that. Okay, do not do that. Got it. I'm just gonna press X or A, because elemental stuff heals him, and I'm hitting him for like 2,000 a hit anyway, so whatever. Crit him for 4K and he died. Holy crap, man. I will take your 3,700 experience, thank you. He got away. Yeah, but the door's open now. He didn't even bother locking the door behind him, which we couldn't get through before. But why have a password security system if you're just gonna like open it up? They didn't consider locking it. He didn't consider, like, he's in this advanced research facility. You know, this is his home, and he's just, yeah, I don't know about that. Locking it behind me seems like that would actually be a solution to my problem. You talk big for someone who doesn't know what Asmodeus looks like. How would you know I am Asmodeus? Well, that explains the question. Yeah, pretty much. Thank you, Neo, for the 110. Is that supposed to be a haiku? You talk some big or some? No. Okay. A bird just melted into my head. Don't be alarmed. Ooh, treasures. Cinderella vial. Don't know what that does. Star ruby. That's crafting. Cure stone. Looks like cure powder, honestly. Oh no, I dropped my controller! Oh, whatever shall I do? Alright, guys, aside from Final Fantasy VII Remake, what is your most anticipated game release this year? I'd have to go with probably Resident Evil 3 Remake, which comes out on April 3rd. But I know a lot of people are probably going to say the SD3 Remake, Trials of Mana. SMT5. Oh, Cyberpunk. Yeah, but that's not till September, unfortunately. Mountain Blade 2? I've not played those games. I heard they're pretty fun though. Trails of Cold Steel 4, hopefully. You know, actually, I have to resend RE3 and say Xenoblade Definitive Edition. Xenoblade Definitive Edition. Actually, I had forgotten about that. So yeah. You mean Bravely Second? Wait, you mean Bravely Default 2? So Bravely Second, from my understanding, isn't like an actual sequel. It's more like just another Bravely game that's not really part of the story. So that's why Bravely Default 2 is Bravely Default 2. Right? I never played Bravely Second. Horse Arena HD Remake Extreme Edition. Yeah, that's probably the most loved one. I see you, Treasure. I'm coming for you. Bravely Second's like FFX2 while Bravely Default 2 is the actual next game. Yeah, that makes sense. I want chat to know what you've never heard of. Squee the way he did the first time Oh, I just want to know that you have never heard BGG squee the way he did the first time he saw Xenoblade Chronicles on Switch was going to be a thing. Yeah, it's true. I think I was talking to RBG Chick when I heard the news, and I pretty much flipped my shit. I don't. Maybe I did do it on stream. I can't remember if I was streaming when I first heard the news or not. You know, to be honest. But yeah, it was. I freaking love Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2 both quite a bit, and yeah, the excitement is definitely big. Oh, that's right. We were watching the Nintendo Direct together. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I remember now. The release, they just announced it today, and it's May 29th, which just really soon. So basically, like, we got a stacked couple months coming in because it's FF7R on April 10. Actually, first is Resident Evil Remake on the 3rd. Then Final Fantasy VII Remake on the 10th. So those 7 days are pretty much going to be me playing Resident Evil 3 different endings, by the way. I'm playing Resident Evil 3 when that game comes out, just so you guys know. And then Trials of Mana on the 24th of April, and then Xenoblade Remaster, or Definitive Edition, really, on the 29th of May. And then Crystal Chronicle Remaster sometime in the summer, then Cyberpunk in fall, Tales of Arise and Yakuza 7 somewhere along the line with Bravely Default 2 as well. So really good looking year so far. It's gonna be really hard to pick like Game of the Years and stuff like that this year. Now then, let us kill him. Wait. Our mission was only to retrieve his blood. We must not allow ourselves to be killed here. Escape! Pfft. They vanished. Oh, God, this is like... They got away, but there was nothing we could do about it. It would have been impossible to stop them because their taking of the virus was already decided by history. What? Huh? What? What? Ha! Bothersome insects. You won't be leaving with your lives. What the hell? You changed quite a bit from your other model. Open your eye. It's quite a bit different from what he looked like before. He just looked like a human of some kind, or like an elf person. That's it. Oh, he's gonna spam it. He's just spamming it. What a... Are you serious? I can't do anything. What an absolute piece of shit. Are you serious? Apparently he died. 10,000. Wow, that was a lot of everything. Did we beat him? Yes, let's take some of his blood back with us. How it feels to fight a boss in Ni no Kuni? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. The combat system in Ni no Kuni could have been so much better, but it just kind of felt like they knew what they wanted to do, but didn't know how to execute it, you know? It was like, it was really cool, but like, they didn't know how to, they weren't game designers, they were idea makers, you know? After literally grinding into his body into oblivion, and it's just like, yeah, let's get his blood, and yeah. You did extraordinarily well. You shall go down in history as some of the greatest heroes ever. Thank you. We will probably only attain true peace over time, but the death of the king of the demon world is something we should all certainly be ecstatic about, heroes. I speak for all my people when I say thank you from my heart. Not from the bottom of my heart, just from my heart. Just from my heart. Yep, basically Rowdy